So, welcome back. This part of the tutorial will be about the introduction to the Group Leaders Manual. Before we do that, I just want to say some general things to think about when you prepare to run this program. The first thing you need to think about is, well, who are my participants? Who are my members? What are their strengths? What are their needs? Where they're coming from? What are their expectations of learning how to be part of this program? So even before you get into teaching, you need to do a lot of preparation to just know which direction you're going and what it is that you're wanting your participants to learn and to walk away with at the end of the program. So think a little bit about this. I mean, what we do know is that the participants have often been out of work for a long time. They come from a great variety of cultural, socioeconomic backgrounds. Some of them haven't actually been out of work for all that long. So it's a great variety of people that you will have to kind of find a way to bring together, to create group cohesion, and to create a learning environment that's conducive to every member of the group. So think a little bit about this. I mean, think also about the commonality. So what do these people have in common? They all want to get back into work. So that's your task, helping them to find the confidence within themselves, to remain strong, because there's often lots of knockbacks, lots of moments of maybe embarrassment even when they do go out and find work and so on. So it is your task to help them prepare internally for this program. Now, this program is called a psychoeducational program, which means that you have a task of educating, and you also have a task of creating a therapeutic space that's conducive to therapeutic conversations. Now, it's not group therapy, this is really important, but you do want to create a therapeutic experience that the members will find helpful and useful in their experience of transformation. So we are seeking a sense of transformation so that people can just keep going out there and doing what they want to do, finding a job and creating a future for themselves. It's really quite a privilege to be in the position you're in. You're helping people to perhaps really shift their life into a whole new experience. So keep that in mind. Think about your participants ahead of time, and be prepared when you walk into your first session. Now, your first session, and we'll go into a bit more detail, but what you do in the first, 15 minutes or 30 minutes of your first session really matters. It either brings the group closer to you, or it kind of makes the group go, oh, I don't know if I'm in the right place here. So be very well prepared for what it is you're going to say in the first 15 or to 30 minutes of your session. After that, it's over to the group, and you begin the process of bringing the group together into a cohesive whole. Now, one of the challenges, I guess, with this particular group is that it's not necessarily doesn't necessarily have a stable membership. So you may have people come in, just for one session, or they come in halfway through. Ideally, you have the same group over the course of the 6 sessions, but realistically speaking, that's probably not how it's going to be. So you need to be prepared to bring the new members into the group, to help them integrate, to help them find their way. Another challenge is that there might be language barriers. So again, you're needing to find ways to help integrate members, to communicate your material to members in a way that they can make sense of and that they can understand. There have been times when group leaders have kind of introduced new exercises, or kind of deviated from the program. Really, that's not necessary. Just trust in your program, trust in what's there is sufficient, but find ways for how you can present this program in a way that's useful to the members, but it's also authentic to you. So I'm not going to read through the whole manual. So what you, in a moment, I'll screen share. What you will see me do is that I'm going to just touch on every section, and I trust that you will read the full text in your own time. So I just want you to be familiar with what's in the manual and how you can utilize it so that you can run a good group. So I'm just going to go over to screen share the group leaders manual. So you should be able to see it now, and you should also be able to see me still. Just going to turn off the air conditioning. Okay, sorry about that. So you see the title of the program is Into Work with Confidence. So it's specifically for people who want to get back into work. Yeah, and that's what we named it. And the subtitle is A Therapeutic Group Program to Build Self-Confidence. So again, really important for you to remember that you're not there as a teacher only. Yes, you will need to deliver content, and that is a skill in itself, and that is something to learn as you go along. And it may well be what you're thinking of most to begin with. You know, what's the material? How can I present it? How can I get my head around it myself? You know, they're all fair questions and fair things to attend to begin with. But really, over time, you need to develop a way that helps you to create a therapeutic experience, to find ways that each group exercise is not just a cognitive learning experience, but actually engages with a deeper experience the client might have, a deeper conversation in the group, and a conversation that also allows the group to share with each other. I mean, we know that the power of a group comes from people hearing from each other. What have you done? What have I done? What have you found useful? Oh yes, me too. The empathic experience that people have in the group. So you need to facilitate that progress of a group from the beginning, from the forming stage to the performing stage, and then to the modeling stage, as one of the group work theory models describes. And then, of course, you need to create the therapeutic conversation. So really the tasks are threefold: the delivery of the content, the creating of the group, and the therapeutic experience. So not so easy, but really exciting when you get started and when you see how people flourish in the care of you and your co-leader, and as well as the group members. Okay, let's scroll down a little and go to the aims and objectives of the group facilitators tasks. Wrong apostrophe. Whenever you start any group, the first thing you need to get really knowledgeable about is what is the aim of the program. That sets your compass, that gives you an idea of where are we going with this. It's not helpful to kind of just rock up and go, oh yes, I'll do what's in the manual. You really need to have a map in the back of your mind that helps you to know what it is that you're doing, the bigger picture of the group experience. So have a read of that in your own time. But in a nutshell is that the aim is to increase the confidence and self-esteem of group members. There's various ways that we do that, and we'll go into more details a little later on. So the course runs for 6 weeks, with each session being 3 hours in length. Now I know that sometimes the members, there's fewer members, so it's hard to make 3 hours. But I really encourage you to create a 3-hour course. Don't shortchange your participants. They come with the expectation of a 3-hour group, and even if you think, oh, that's a bit long, I really encourage you to make that happen. It not only delivers what you promise, but it also helps you to learn how to create a program that runs over 3 hours, which is what you're meant to be doing. Have a break about halfway through. Be sure the break is not too long, maybe 15-20 minutes at the most. And but yeah, do allow people to stretch their legs and recover. So the course is intended to be enjoyable and thought-provoking, not just for the participants, but also for you. So hopefully that is going to come true for you. So what is the role of the co-facilitators? You work together as a team. You support each other as facilitators. Now, you may not have met each other before you start running this group together. So there is the task that you have together is to get to know you a little, to be really respectful of the different styles that you each have, and to also have really good communication and set aside time for this communication so that you can come together as a team and begin to appreciate each other's strengths and also contribute to each other's learning. So there's a number of things to think about and to put in place so that you work together well. So there are some specific tasks of group facilitation, and they would be very familiar to you both from your classes at ACAP and also from the theory of group work. We do a group agreement, we run brainstorm sessions, we run discussion sessions, and we also provide therapeutic group experiences. You present material in a manner that's appropriate for adult education, so you draw on the participants' knowledge and skill. You respect that they have a lifetime worth of experience, and a number of other aspects that you would have touched on in your group theory class. You also guide a relaxation practice, although that can be done in different ways, and you work collaboratively with your co-facilitators. So your student placement team has already given you a great deal of information about the group participants and the group and also the manuals. So why do people participate in this group? So the course is not mandatory, but the organization knows that people participating in this group will benefit a great deal. And at this point in time, from what I understand, there is no great deal of gatekeeping, which is what we usually do. We kind of look at, who fits into this group, who might benefit from another group. A lot of people come into your group and because the case managers thought it would be a good idea. So yes, you may not have had any contact with a participant before and know what brings them or who they are and so on. So you have to think on your feet a little bit as you go into group leadership. So have a read of that. Now it's really important that you do your group agreement at the beginning and that you are communicating to your group the importance of confidentiality. Confidentiality to keep each other's stories confidential, and also what you keep confidential, so that people don't think that you go telling, say, the case manager about what they've shared in group. But you also need to be clear about the limits to confidentiality, and that's something you find out from your organization, from your placement supervisor or the manager in your organization. So be clear about the limits to confidentiality. So, you know, the leadership of a group is both clearly bound to the manual and to your task, but it also requires a great deal of flexibility. I mean, that's true for any group leader, because we're working with a number of people that, you know, we just don't know, and they bring a great variety of humanness into the group. So we just need to be flexible. We need to, you know, move with what the group brings, what individuals bring, and what matters most right now. What I do want you to do, though, is to grab every opportunity that you can to create a therapeutic experience, to have a therapeutic conversation with your participants. Yeah, so keep your ears peeled to opportunities for a more in-depth sort of conversation where you use your counseling skills. And this is really important. Your counseling skills, that's why you're there to create and hone and deepen your counseling skills and apply them in a group setting. So keep thinking about, how can I be a counselor here? How can I apply counseling skills? Now, you may not have a lot of choice around setting up the room, but I do recommend to you set the room up in a circle. It is conducive to sharing and to group cohesion, so that you can just see all of your group, that it gives your group a sense of, we're not in a classroom here, but we're actually in a therapeutic group. Not a therapy group. Be clear about the differences. If you're unclear about the differences, go back to your group leadership theory and look at your texts there. So the first group session, as I said earlier, you want to be well prepared. You want to be clear about how you introduce yourself. In your introduction, you need to say something about how you relate to the material. Maybe you are willing to do a bit of self-disclosure. Maybe you've been in a similar situation. Maybe you've learned something really valuable in your lifetime about the importance of being confident when entering any kind of challenging situation. So present yourself as friendly, as welcoming, as inviting, as a person that people will feel safe. Also present yourself as competent and as someone who knows what they're doing, so that people can trust you. They have a sense of your competence and they know that you know what you're talking about. So those sorts of things are really helpful. Now, I do, as I said earlier, I do a strengths and needs analysis, which I sit down beforehand. I look at, what are the needs of my clients, what are their strengths, even though I don't know them, but I just tune into who they are, and that forms the basis of my introduction of the group and of myself. And if you have further questions about this, you can discuss this in supervision. So let's go a bit further down. So again, you need to translate the manual into a session plan for yourself. So this is really important. So the manual really only gives you the framework, but what you do at what point in time of the session, that is something you need to figure out yourself. So what I have is, when I run groups, is I have, from 9:30 to 9:45, introduction of group leader, 9:45 to 10 o'clock, introduction of members, 10 to 10:15 group agreement, or, thereabouts. I mean, this is just arbitrary. I'm just giving you an example of what might be helpful for you. So you and your co-facilitator, you need to sit down and create a session plan that helps you to know where you're at any point in time of the session. Now, there is a purple and white A4 book available in the libraries that shows you exactly how you do this. It's just called Group Leadership, and it just gives you sample session plans and gives you a whole other a lot of information that might help you to prepare for the sessions. So you need to have that very clear with your co-facilitator. Who is doing what resources you need, and how you and who's doing what at what point. Especially when you're new to it to begin with, because you're not going to know each other and each other's style prior to working together. But I would still suggest to you that you have a conversation before each of the meetings. So at the end of each session, you just need to leave some time to complete the session well. As you know, every session has a beginning, a middle, and an end. We have tasks at the beginning, we have tasks in the middle, and the tasks at the end is to round off the group experience, just as you would with an individual comment. So your group facilitator, your co-facilitator, and you need to sit down and have a debrief after each session. How did the group go? What did you learn? What's been some feedback? What would you do differently? And to so that you get clear on how to create the group into the future. Of course, before each session, you also need to have a sit down and and just discuss what's coming up in the group to come. Again, group facilitation tasks. Please have a good read of that. It's really important. Now, the group program and creativity. A lot of thought has gone into creating of this program, and I want you to really trust in it. Don't go off doing your own thing. Don't go off thinking you have to, create other interventions or group exercises. A, that's not really necessary. And B, we really need to run what we say we will run. The organization will have a manual, a copy of the manual, so they expect that we run what we say. So please stick to the program, trust in it, and work to translate it into a useful group experience. Of course, your individuality and your creativity are welcome. That's just absolutely necessary. So I'm not saying don't take yourself out of the picture because you can't. But what I'm saying is use your creativity, use your individuality to stay with the program and to offer it as it is. There's a bit on brainstorming. So the long and the short of that is that you just need to make sure that your participants have a voice and that their voice is heard. So even if they say something that's a bit random or seems to not fit in, just ask them, what is it you mean by that? Can you say some more? And still, add it to your butcher paper or whatever you use to capture the ideas of brainstorming. So right at the end of the 6 sessions, you do a final session, and that'll be a time where you round things off with each other, where you celebrate your achievements. I mean, that is always a wonderful thing to do at the end of a group experience. And then there's some feedback forms available from the group leaders. We really value your feedback. We shape the group according to the feedback of the leaders, and you are the person who knows the group best, and so your feedback is really valued. So there's a general outline of the program, which I think it's really important you have a look at, so you get a bigger picture of the program. You have the map in the back of your mind, and you know what you're doing. So the first session is a welcome to the program, as I mentioned earlier. It's about telling your story, giving the participants the opportunity to tell their story. How did this go? And you can already see, if you're inviting people to share their story, there is ample opportunity to make this into a therapeutic experience. Yeah. Oh, use your active listening. Oh, this is what's happened to you. This is what you've gone through. Oh, that sounds difficult. It sounds like you've had a lot of challenges. You know, I can hear lots of resilience in your journey. So use your active listening skills to hear the story, to respond to it, and to create this kind of therapeutic environment with your clients. Do a group agreement, of course, with your group before, as I said earlier, and then introduce the concept of confidence and self-esteem. So you need to define the terms. What's actually meant by confidence and self-esteem? I can imagine for some people that brings up some feelings, some history, some maybe some pain, maybe some hurt. So again, listen out for opportunities to use your active listening skills to offer some empathic response to what may be a painful story for the client, for the participant. The second session is about using the potential of your mind. So we're working with pessimistic thinking, with core belief, how negative thoughts get in the way of success, and you will be introducing CBT-based models to help clients kind of transform these negative thoughts into something that doesn't get in the way of their success. Yeah, so an important second session that can be really so very powerful in that, you know, something quite simple in a way can make a big difference to people. And session 3 is focused more on the emotional aspect. So how do we transform difficult emotions? Of course, we look at happiness. You know, what makes us happy, what helps us to sustain happiness, but also to understand challenging emotions. Fear, you know, being scared before a job interview, being embarrassed perhaps when there's been a rejection. Maybe being shamed in the family for not having work, or in one's culture. So there's difficult emotions that will be present for people on this journey. And again, your active listening skills, by session 3, you really need to have begun to link the group very strongly. So questions like, who else has experienced this? What else is going on for people? Who understands this? If Freddie's speaking about one thing, maybe you can bring Mary in and say, oh, Mary, you've mentioned something similar before. Do you relate to what Freddie's saying? So you begin to link people and their experiences together so that this mutual support, the power of the group can really flourish. Of course, you need to also offer some balm to these difficult experiences, so we added a relaxation session at the end of session 3. Session 4 is about managing challenges, maintaining optimism, and building resilience. So we deepen into what we've done in the previous 2 sessions. So how to stay optimistic, how to maintain and build resilience, how to manage challenges. Yeah, we're going deeper. We're exploring more deeply what we have done in the previous session. Session 5 is about building your relationships with others. So very important in any situation, the group situation, of course, but also employment situation. And even family situations. So the first part of the session is very much focused on relationship skills, communication skills, and so on. The second part is an opportunity for you to not do any content at all, but to open it up for group process. So the process to help people speak into the group some of what's been generated in the previous weeks and what else might be going on. What's difficult? What's challenging? Like this is where you're really creating a therapeutic experience for the members. And you need to prepare people for it, so you need to introduce that. It's not that you would say, well, we all want to hear your deepest secrets now, but you would prepare them for. So let's just talk about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, where have we been, what's been helpful, what's been challenging, and using that as a way into deeper experiences, so that people can really have a voice about what it is that's difficult, and have you as the group leader hold that, develop it, link it to some of the learnings that have been done in the previous weeks, and and just offer some empathic response to people who carry some pain around their journey with employment and unemployment. And then session 6 is about building on the success of the previous 5 weeks and putting it all together. A last session of a group is always, what have we learned? How have we changed? Where are we at now? And what do we need to continue this journey in the future? So they're your tasks for the last session. And of course, as I said earlier, the final session is also a time to complete in a way that, that kind of nourishes the soul a bit as well. And here the summaries, here's a summary of the main activities of that you will be doing, that you will be facilitating over the course of the 6 weeks. So I'm going to pause here now so that you can have a reflection on what we've been doing, what we've been talking about, and the next video then will be going into more depth about the Group Leaders Manual. See you then.